Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time to nerd fight!
Step into the ring, it's time to brawl. Nerd fights, baby, we're geeking for all. Marvel, DC, Trek, and more.
Fire.
Pop culture battles, settle the score. Nerd fights, let's get loud. Nerd fights, yeah, for the geeky crowd. Nerd fights, hey, it's time to throw down. Bring your fandom, it's the hottest showdown. Who's got the takes? Who's got the heat? Mr. Know-It-All and Salty can't be beat.
That means only one thing. It's time to fight.
Beat drops out with the final shot.
Nerd fights.
Let's fight!
Hey, what's going on?
I'm awake.
What's good, right? It's like, hey, everybody, what's happening?
We were like, who are these guys?
How have you been, sir?
Tired.
I love the hair, man. I like just letting it go. I love it.
Yeah, I've been wearing it down mostly now.
Looks good. Looks good.
You know, now that it's long enough, that I feel comfortable doing it.
If you get approached by any hairband guys who are like, hey, are you? You're like, no, I'm not that guy.
No, but I will tell you this: while driving Uber, my tips from little old ladies have drastically gone up.
See? I love it. I love it. Little old lady tips. That's the way to go, man. Oh, my God. It's been so long, brother. How you been? What's new?
Well, not a whole lot.
I know these movies have come out.
Yeah. Oh, isn't
the series Star Trek starts next week?
Yeah. So Strange New Worlds next week.
I know.
Got, Superman this week.
Yeah.
And of course, 2 weeks from now we got Fantastic Four. So it's
boom.
It's like nothing. It's been nothing for a little while. I mean, we did have Ironheart drop, which I didn't look. I didn't hate Ironheart. I haven't finished the final episode yet, but overall, I didn't hate it. I just didn't love it, but I wasn't expecting to.
So I didn't hate it either. I have a review up. It's whatever. But I didn't. It's funny. I actually liked the first half. The first 3 episodes I liked. I was excited for it. I was like, oh, they're gonna do something cool. And then the second half just tanked hard and did all the things that everybody had been complaining about, and I was just so disappointed. I really was. I was disappointed, like on an Acolyte level, disappointed.
Oh, I don't think it was anywhere near Acolyte level.
No. But the level of disappointment for me was because there was so much potential there, man. There's so much potential, and they just screwed the pooch on it, and I was so mad.
No, so I'll say this. We know that Ironheart was I think the last production of the old Marvel, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's right.
And
you're right.
Why? I think the only reason they wouldn't let it go was because Ryan Coogler's name was on it.
Well, and also, so I have. It's funny when it comes to that. I have this feeling that. They were going.
Oh wait, we're talking about Superman today, right?
I know, but
no. I gotta do this. Hold on. Let me.
Really? Is that what you gotta do?
Yeah.
You get that.
Gotta have that one.
That's a long curl, bro.
That is a very long curl. I'm like that.
Curl.
You remember Superman with the long hair when they tried to make him look hip?
Hey, Robert.
Yeah.
Robert's in the chat. What's going on, brother?
No,
I literally both did it. Go for it. Hit it, man. Do it. You're good. I'll let you put him in the chat.
Yeah, good to see you, Robert.
What's going on, man?
Morning.
But yeah, so for I think that Ryan Coogler was given control of the show at the last minute, right as he was going into full blown production. Like I feel like there was a phone call. He was like, "Hey, what's going on, Ryan? How's it going? Listen, we want to give you this. We have this thing with Riri Williams. Have you heard about it? Yeah. Oh my god, I love it. It's great. When do you want to do it? Well, we're hoping to do an XYZ date. He's like, bro, I'm about to jump into. All right, hang on. And then he found a way. That's why she felt crammed into Wakanda Forever, is because he was going to be the executive producer, and he was like, I need to give this the best chance possible, so I'm going to stick her in my movie in the hopes that people will care. And when it comes time, because that was the first time we saw or even heard hiding her hair of her.
Right, but that was also years ago now.
I know, stupid years ago.
Because this show's been in production hell.
It was done, and it was. I don't know if it was full like post production and everything, but it was.
I think they had to do some reshoots or something.
Okay, it was like 2022, 2023. Like it's been done for a minute.
But I don't know. And it's the fact that they dumped it all at once is what.
Apparently, the Superman Me TV is now on Sunday nights showing the George Reeves Superman TV show. According to Robert, he said, "Yeah, man." Here we go. Hunter Iggy's. I'll put it over there. What's up, everyone? A Justice League and Superman movie sequel has been announced. Finally, right? Like, here we go. No, it's awesome. Where do you still? Okay, real quick, Salty. Where do you stand on the whole Zack Snyder, James Gunn of it all? I think we may have talked about this once before, but it's been a long time.
Okay, so here's the deal. I don't want Marvel and DC to be clones of each other, because then I could just, it'll become generic. If they're all doing movies the same way. Okay. Now, that being said, so when the Snyderverse was in full swing, I'm not talking about the later stuff like Shazam and Aquaman, but the actual Snyderverse movies,
right?
So which was basically Man of Steel, Batman v Superman, and Justice League Snyder cut, right? So much
creative input, like people like James Wan and them. They talked to him about some of the elements of their stuff, even though they didn't do full on. But
those three movies
live in the same universe,
right? But like when you watch, and I guess you could throw Wonder Woman in there, but it's kind of since it's isolated, being in World War One. So, but then when you look at all the movies that came from Justice League and all the movies after the Snyder cut, like the Aquaman films, the Shazam films, Black Adam, they felt like they were trying to take the dark and gritty characters and put them in a Marvel movie.
Okay, I get that. I do get that.
To me that didn't work. I think what the problem was is that while Warner Brothers wanted to rush to get to Justice League, which I can understand,
but they wanted their own billion-dollar franchise as soon as possible.
Right, but the thing is that Marvel took their lumps with some of their early films.
Sure, they did. No, for sure.
They did not break $1 billion, people, until Avengers.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And
also, and thank you, Robert would like us to know that Aquaman does not have tattoos either. Just in case we didn't know that.
Well, I'm sorry. It was Lobo of the Sea is really
it's like chicken in the sea.
Yeah, it's Lobo of the Sea. Yes. All right, man. Let's go get some fish.
I missed you, sir. I missed you very much. That's awesome.
I feel like some tuna tonight.
For real.
All right, so all he needed was a motorcycle.
That's all he needed for sure. All right, so real quick, so let's okay. So what else? What else has been? Otherwise, I'm all right.
So back to what we were talking about. So so I liked the idea in the Snyderverse of we have a superhero universe that's dark, like which was the Justice League universe, and then we have a universe that's kind of light, which was the Marvel, the MCU, and that way I could get both flavors whenever I wanted by switching back and forth. Now then, we get this movie, and this movie is like, hey Marvel, hold my rainbow. We're going to go where you think you're light. Yeah. And so James Gunn.
We talking about this movie, like Superman?
Yeah, I'm talking about this Superman.
Okay, so okay, so hang on. I'll finish your thought because I have a response to that idea of
so this movie is lighter than any of the MCU films. And now I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but what I'm concerned
according to the internet, there are tonal issues all over the place, and I didn't see tonal issues. I
didn't see tonal issues within the film. Here's what I think. Okay, so you see, I'm trying to be like Superman and not use the language that I want to use.
You don't want to say "darn it." You want to use the language.
Yeah. Those darn donkey holes.
Yeah, dude, totally.
Like Nerdrotic and stuff. And I'm sorry, I'm going to name drop because I watched Nerdrotic's review, and Jeremy Johns at this point too falls into this camp. When they're talking about tonal issues, okay, here's what they don't like. I think they see Superman going, "Gosh darn it, that really didn't go well." Meanwhile, Green Lantern's looking at him going, "You're so full of shit." Right? And so some people say,
I'm
"Whoa,
sorry, I
whoa."
call that characters. I
Right.
call that characterization.
But that's the thing.
I don't know what the issue is.
This entire movie was show, and people were. You know what really pissed me off? Okay, so you have these gosh darn donkey holes like out there that were complaining for years about how horrible Man of Steel was, how horrible Batman v Superman was, because Superman is not supposed to be a mopey, whiny jerk. He's not supposed to be dark. He's not supposed to be gritty. Superman is supposed to be, and they usually go back to like Christopher Reeve or whatever.
Sure.
And now you have a Superman that is straight out of the comics, that the harshest thing he'll say is, gosh darn it. And, you know, he is actually, you know, probably the most accurate Man of Steel we've ever seen.
I think
and what are they saying? This Superman is naive. This Superman is dumb.
My favorite is all the men in this movie are weak. And I'm like, hang on. And the other criticism was because, you know, Wonder Woman, or not Wonder Woman, Lois Lane is supposed to, well, how come she the one who this and that? I'm like, whoa. Tell me you've never read a Superman comic without saying you never read a Superman comic. Because
that's Lois Lane from the 40s.
Lois Lane has been defined always by her strength. And then later on, they gave her some like actual reasoning behind it. For instance, her father was a loveless general who treated everyone like military, who even in her family, and who raised a certain way. And she was like, I'm care for none of this. I don't want to answer to nobody. And she's always been very self-reliant, self-sufficient. And so this idea that she's never been strong is foolish.
Well, look at Margot Kidder's Lois. Margot Kidder's Lois was more of a strong feminist than this one.
I agree. I absolutely agree with that. 100%.
And you know, whatever. You know, but the and then you have Guy Gardner walking around, Mr. Alpha Male.
Bro, I love Guy Gardner. I thought Nathan Fillion was like so great for that.
Oh,
character.
he nailed Guy Gardner and that's the funny thing is like people, you know, some people are complaining. Well, we don't know who these characters are. Don't worry, you will.
Yeah, no kidding. Okay. So that gets into something else that I'd read about people complaining was that, it feels like it feels overstuffed and it felt like there was pacing issues. And I'm sorry, but for me, thank you. Robert points out the CW Lois was pretty good, and you're absolutely right. She absolutely was. Her and Tyler Hoechlin were amazing.
I actually like the Lois on Smallville.
I did too. Yeah, no, that was good. I'll go as far back as Terry Hatcher. I loved that Dean Cain, Terry Hatcher era. That was me, like the original. We're gonna take it seriously and be as earnest as you want us to be, because he's wearing the cheesiest outfit with the biggest S on his chest. And I tell you what, they did some drama. I love that show. Anyway, but so I feel like when they talk about pacing and those kind of issues,
right?
The problem is when you don't get an origin story, and I'm okay with that. Matter of fact, I think this is great. It drops you smack in the middle, it's as if you're at the store comic book shop. You picked up a book off the shelf. You open the page one. They're not starting the beginning of a story. You're jumping in the middle of something. And all you get is previously on, and that's what we get in this movie. I got the spoiler warning up for her. You get 3 simple lines that explain where we've been and where we are right now. And then you get that moment we saw in the original teaser thing where he crashes to the snow.
Here's the irony of that. So in the Jeremy John spoiler video that he put out today, he complained. I haven't had a chance
to watch. I need to watch that.
Yeah, he did complain about that, but here's what he said: that the movie opens. You get some text at the beginning, and the movie in the text you find out Superman's been Superman for 3 years, that there have been metahumans for 300 years, and that Superman just lost his first fight, right? And he says, but we don't see that fight. Instead, we just see Superman crash landed in the ice.
Sorry, you don't get that back issue. I apologize.
Right. And he says, all we had was some lines of text, and all of a sudden we're dropped in the middle of this, right? And I'm like, yeah, you know, like a little movie called Star Wars that did the exact same thing in 1977, where all they did was tell you, oh yeah, there was this big battle where the rebels stole the Death Star plans. And then cut to Star Destroyer pummeling a little ship. You know? It's the same thing. And people are getting all freaked out about it. Like, oh my gosh, it's so unfair. It's just people looking for something to not like here. In actuality, I will tell you, even though I was forewarned by a lot of people, oh, this movie's going to drop you in the middle. I had no problem whatsoever understanding what was going on.
Same, 100% same. No issues.
And I am not the world's brightest guy. Heck, I have to take brain medication to keep my brain from falling apart. So I'm not trying to claim some kind of special uber knowledge on this stuff. And I'm not a big DC guy. About 90% of my collection is Marvel. I do have the John Byrne Man of Steel run, which this really reminds me of.
Dude, same. I love that. That's my favorite run. That's my favorite run.
Yeah. And I think that...
I have the omnibus version of that, the compiled one.
Yeah. I just have the originals that I got when I first came
those are great. I had the original too, but it was split in half with the logo, with the 3D, pushed out Man of Steel logo at the top.
Yeah.
It was it had drawn to look like... Yeah, anyway, sorry.
But anyway, what was it that Nerdrotic was saying that? Oh gosh,
Darren's here tonight.
Yeah, it's Darren for you. But anyway, oh gosh, now I'm completely losing my train of thought.
Okay, so for me the issue, but I didn't have a problem with that, with the whole jumping through the story thing.
No.
I really didn't. I felt like I was able to follow it, and in fact, it kind of carried us along. And next thing I know, the movie's over, and I told my wife in the car, I said I could have easily gone for another 20 minutes. And I feel like, I feel like 20 more minutes would have given the story a little bit more time to establish certain elements. For instance, I hear rumor that they had were going to film a day in the life of, or a week in the life of Clark Kent, and that's how it was going to open, with a series of shots that ultimately would have ended on him, and this is today, fighting that hammer creature that knocks him out, and then we end up at the same place. So that was an original sort of piece they were going to do, and they ended up not doing it for whatever reason. Again, I explained to my wife, and most people know this, the reason why these movies go they shorten their length is exactly the reasons you might think, which is they want to be able to screen it more times. Or at least give the theater the opportunity to screen it more times and thus make more money.
Yeah, that's why movies shoot for the 2-hour mark, because that's kind of the sweet spot for the number of showings and all that. Oh, yeah, I remember. So one of the things Nerdrotic was complaining about was that he's Superman and he keeps getting his ass kicked, right? And to me, it's like, okay, did Mr. Nerdrotic, who likes to brag about the fact that he used to own a comic book store and he's an expert in comics and all that, and Darren Wagner is right here. I would take Darren Wagner's information on comics over Nerdrotic any day. Okay?
Same. But, absolutely.
However,
he has an almost encyclopedic bit of knowledge.
Yes. One of the things I loved about the John Byrne run was Superman was getting his ass kicked.
Well, it made him more accessible and gave him someplace to go with the story.
They toned him down. Like this Superman was still clearly the most powerful metahuman. But
the fact is, you know what he did? He did that I loved. He held the building up,
but only for a second,
but without it breaking.
Right?
No, that's because I don't think it was because he couldn't carry it. I think he was holding it up because he knew he was trying to balance it.
It looked to me like he was straining to keep it up.
I think he was balancing it so it didn't shatter in half from the point of where he's holding it. And as soon as she was out from under it, it was like it crumbled into nothing, and then he came out of the smoke.
Well, the building didn't crumble, though. It just came. Well, we'll have to watch it when it comes out on video.
We'll go frame by frame.
We will argue about
told you.
I got the feeling that they were limiting his strength a little bit by showing that he couldn't hold the building up indefinitely. Same thing with the kaiju. He couldn't hold the kaiju's foot indefinitely. That's why he had to push the dog out of the way. Because if Superman's strength was as unlimited as it's commonly portrayed, he could have just lifted the foot and flown off. In fact, he could have just grabbed the foot and lifted the kaiju out of the city. You know
something I really appreciated? They did not fall prey to giving him a god complex, and by that I mean that little kid at the end with the flag, who in the trailer they rope-a-dope you. And by the way, again, spoilers if you think I'm sorry, you should have seen the movie, or you should go see it immediately if you can, because we're talking about it. I don't care. He's calling for Superman, and Superman didn't show up. He sent his friends. He made a phone call, and I'm like, that's awesome.
Remember?
They didn't let him have that moment.
No. You got to get it right. You're getting an upgrade, kid.
Yeah, I love it. I love it so much. And then he's got the hands and the hands.
The flipping off the pegs.
Yeah, it was so good. It was so good. Yeah,
Yeah.
man. No, I don't know. I don't. So it's so funny seeing everybody on the right go insane and lose their minds because James Gunn said something about immigration. Here's the other
Well,
part about here's my one thing about that. I'm gonna make no bones about it. I lean very conservative. However, I didn't see anything like I saw like maybe some like passing whatever. To me, this is how messaging has always been done in stories. It's just a part of the story, and you don't linger or hang on it.
And by the way, let's be real. Superman is an illegal immigrant.
Absolutely, 100%.
You know, and so while well, I'm just saying, like, they could make a story about him. You know, the government.
I kind of think I
think they did it in the comics.
Yeah, a long time ago. Some version of that idea they've done.
Yeah,
Darren could probably tell us if he's
yeah, but yeah, they could absolutely and you know, like if they wanted to be ham-fisted, they could have had the president say something like, "We're gonna have ICE deport him," you know, and it's like, deport him to where, sir?
Some version of a
send him to El Salvador to be in the work, you know.
No, totally.
You know, so
man.
they could, you know, if they really wanted to get ham-fisted with it, they could do that. But they didn't. They did mention that he is an immigrant, but so what? He is.
You know, and my other issue is not. Listen, first I need to make sure.
That'd be like me saying, "Well, yeah, you know, Mr. Know-It-All's a Mexican," and everybody would be like, "Well, duh, of course he's a Mexican. Look at him."
All right, so look, my big issue is not so much that people have like I need everybody to know 100%. I'm okay with you guys not liking something. If someone doesn't like it, that's fine. I have no problem. My problem comes from when I hear people who make unfounded statements or just are generically because someone they watch tells them to. So and my other thing is, how do these guys on the group that we're talking about, this fandom menace type group, okay? Mm-hmm. How do you reconcile the fact that when do you win?
Right.
Well, when Hollywood does blah, 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 when they give you the movie they just gave you? Because I'm sorry, they gave you an entire cast that looks very much like the ones in the comics. Even so, insofar as, and you pointed this out, even so far as Perry White, who, no, Wendell Pierce is not a white man, a gruffy old white man, but you know what he is? He was Perry White.
Right. I mean, he dressed like Perry White. Yeah, he had the cigar in his mouth. In fact, you know what I laughed about while watching the movie? He had a lit cigar on the spaceship.
He totally did.
You know, and I'm I was thinking, man, the cockpit of that ship's got a stink right now.
Robert says he doesn't like Brussels sprouts. Robert, I'm sorry about that. And guess what? I don't like Brussels sprouts either. So
what's Brussels sprouts?
We're on the same. Brussels sprouts, those little teeny tiny little, they like spinach.
I know what a Brussels sprout is. I mean, why?
Cabbage balls. It's awful. I don't know. He said it. I'm going to bring it up. He brought it up. So good.
Well, yeah, Brussels sprouts are the devil's fruit.
I had a bad experience as a kid with Brussels sprouts, and that's how fast we get derailed. Anyway, but yeah, man, no, I had no prop. For me, the issue with with these guys who want to be negative is so like I saw Critical Drinker posted on X, and his post, I read it.
I haven't seen his X post.
I read it. I wanted to yawn. I'm like, did you cut and paste this? The bad part is, I feel like I could have wrote it. You know what I mean? I'm like, what is going on, dude? Thank you so much, Geeky Cast. I appreciate you, brother. My homeboy, I love him. He reposted the stream for us. But yeah, man, I'm just like, dude, who's negative about Superman? No, this is the guys. The negative guys I'm talking about are the usual suspects. They're your Critical Drinker, your Nerdrotic, those guys. My issue again. I don't have a problem with people being negative. I don't. You don't like it? Fine. My problem is when they're so generic and so fake about it that I want to sit here and go, you realize this could be the description of almost anything. And right. if you're getting the thing you've been asking for, what is your problem? I feel like they get trapped in this rage bait box that they can't get out of. It's one thing to be an engagement baiter. Trust me, there's plenty of those guys out there. You know what I mean? Thank you, brother. I appreciate you too. Geeky Cast, he's awesome. I love him. You guys, if you want to know a real scooper, in my opinion, Geeky Cast is genuine. The guy's got his pulse on a lot of things. If nothing else, he validates a lot of really cool stuff. So definitely follow him if you guys get a chance. Yeah, I mean, my issue with these guys is that I feel like you've now painted yourself into a rage bait box. You can't go anywhere. You can't do anything now. You can't enjoy anything because your audience won't let you. You can't be happy about anything Because the thing is, the same way I would ask anybody who's in the other side of a debate or a fight, what is your goal? What is your hope? That Disney burns to the ground? That what? That Kathleen Kennedy is crucified in the streets? Like, what is your actual goal and end game? So now you get to this movie that, to me, is everything that that group could possibly want.
Right.
And then what do you get? Nerdrotic's title. No, it's not. It is not woke, but it's still a disappointment. Of course it is, because it has to be for you, unless you have genuine complaints. You know, even the Snyder Bros. I loved Man of Steel. I did. I enjoyed Man of Steel a lot. I actually want to feel some of the few people who enjoyed Batman v Superman. I went to see it. We saw it in the theater.
I went so far as to say Batman v Superman is the best Batman we've ever had on screen, period.
Bro, tell me about it, man. I tell you what, it's such a shame that whole thing went down the way it did, because I would have loved to have seen Affleck be more in more.
You know what would
Batman.
be perfect? The Affleck Batman from Batman v Superman in this universe.
I could totally see that too. Yeah. Although a lot of people want Pattinson, I don't think Pattinson should be in this. I feel like he's too totally different. But Batman's always supposed to be a little bit different anyway.
No, you see, I want that. That's the one thing.
Really?
I don't know that even Gunn. I mean, Gunn's got some balls, but I don't know if he's even got the balls for this. Is to you make a Batman every bit as dark and gritty as Batman has ever been. You go with the Robert Pattinson or something similar to that as far as Batman. You make Gotham I'm sorry, shithole of a city, right? Sure. Gotham is, that's the whole point of Gotham, because we don't get all the fancy superheroes coming around here cleaning everything up.
It's true.
So you got me, and I'm not wearing hockey pads, So that's what we need.
There was this guy online, real fast. Don't lose your thought. This guy online posted. He asked, "What would happen if Batman ended up facing Spider-Man's rogues and Spider-Man facing Batman's?" I said Spider-Man would poop his pants first off, but he would have to deal because these guys are crazy. And then Batman would be like, "You guys look like the goofballs who face the Flash. Like, who are you people?" Like, because he's got a real rogues. Batman's got the psychotics that are after him.
But here's the funny thing about that, though. So you're right that Spider-Man would crap his pants and Batman would be laughing his butt off, right? However, immediately after that, Spider-Man's rogues would annihilate Batman, and Spider-Man would completely curb stomp Batman's villain. I mean, the Joker.
Spider-Man could curb stomp them for sure.
Yeah,
but I think the problem is he would be too confused about how in the world they could be that evil, because he's never faced anything that crazy.
But you know what? He would go. You know what? I could just see. He'd be like, "Calendar Man. Now that's more like it."
That's awesome. But yeah, man. So back to this thing. I didn't have a problem with any of the pacing issues. In fact, I loved the fact that I figured out in this movie, Clark is just a country hick boy who's like, yeah, I wear a costume to help people because I'm super strong and do stuff.
Right.
Like he's still him. Like the fact that he would drop like Clarkisms as Superman it gave me so much insight, and I was like, oh my God, that's right. You're just a farm boy who's pretending that you can mentally handle everything going on, man, and you're doing your best because physically you can take it.
And while it's not the origin story, he's only been Superman for 3 years.
Right. It's very you know what that sounds like to me? That sounds like New 52. That was the premise.
Well, he's wearing the New 52 collar, so
pretty much, except for the drawers on the outside, he's wearing the outfit.
Yeah.
And so my whole thought is like, I wonder where they're going to go with that. Like, are you going to try to borrow heavily from some of those elements?
I'd rather see them borrow more from Man of Steel, which I think they did a lot in this.
Oh, absolutely.
But notice, Ultraman, there's the spoiler thing over there.
Totally.
Ultraman, of course, turns out to be a clone of Superman. And that's another thing that Nerdrotic went off on, because it's like, the second that Lex was able to get the Fortress of Solitude to open up, it's like, yeah, of course, because Ultraman's a clone, right? And it's like, no, you say that because you've read comic books.
Right.
You know, my wife had no idea.
Neither did mine. Neither
Right.
did mine. No clue.
In fact, I even
I
asked
probably
her.
I may have spoiled it for her actually.
No, I didn't spoil. I just said, "So, do you know how he opened that up?" And she's like, and she's like, "No, no, but
Don't
I'm
be that
sure
guy.
they'll tell me." You know.
Yeah, that's it. Don't be like you're like, so you know how they did it, huh? 'Cause
Yeah.
I know how they did
I just
it.
wanted to see if she had figured it out. Because
no.
I knew, you know, she's kind of a normie when it comes to this. She's read some comics, but she hasn't really gotten into them.
Just read the comic.
Yeah. And so but no, she had no idea that it was because he had a clone of Superman sitting there. And of course, the normies don't know that Ultraman classically is Superman from another universe.
You know what's funny? Robert's actually doing a great job setting us up. So he says, though in the Dragon Ball universe, when a powerful villain shows up, they generally go to the middle of nowhere and do battle, so no major collateral damage and massive loss of life injuries occur. He's not wrong. To that end, for me, it was super comic booky that the alarm sirens went off, the police started calling the thing, there was an emergency thing, and people knew where they were going. I was like, this city had an action plan.
Right, because it happens all the time.
Exactly. I'm like, they
Yeah.
clearly are like, oh, Superman fight. Everybody go where you go. Go to your stations. Everybody
Right.
go where you're going. Get out of the way because buildings are going to start falling. It was so good. I was
You know,
like, this is a
my
city
only
universe.
problem with the way that, because I get that they were trying to make it so that people understood it was a kind of a mundane thing for a big battle that was happening in Metropolis.
Oh, yeah.
However, I did not care for the sight gag of the extra dimensional entity fighting in the background
you
during
didn't?
the. No, I mean I laughed actually a few times. I thought it was genuinely funny, but the problem was,
No, I did too.
and I have to agree. Like here's the like Jeremy Johns pointed this out in his video, and when there's a good point, there's a good point, right?
Absolutely.
Even though most of the video I think was trash, but the. But this was a genuine good point. He said, and you know what? I can't remember anything that they were talking about because I kept thinking about the fight in the background. And I'm the same way. I don't remember what they were talking about.
But you know
I
who
remember they were
you know
having a
who's-
heartfelt conversation.
Do you know who was just like him? Lois. As she's having the conversation with Superman, she's like, she keeps looking out to the point that she even at one point is like, do you need to go do something about that? And he's like, no, they're good. They got this.
Right.
They got it under control.
Well, yeah, I remember
right
that
about
part.
that time you see the giant Green Lantern bat swinging on the thing, and I was
Which was
that's
great.
Awesome.
I think the fact that it was in the background during the entire conversation, like honestly, I think what should have happened would be the conversation starts with that in the background. She gives the little comment about shouldn't you be out there? He said, "Oh, it's just some extra dimensional entity, no big deal. They can handle it." And then, like 2 seconds later, Green Lantern like puts a cage around it and squishes it, and goo starts dripping over the city, and that's the end of the fight. That way, we can now focus on the conversation.
I hear what you're saying. I didn't have a problem with it, but I hear what you're saying.
Because I do think that joke was stretched out a little too much.
So they were apologizing, and he was apologizing for having left, and she was apologizing because whatever. And they had both come to a conclusion that they were that they wanted to. She wasn't, she didn't want to break up or nothing stupid, and she was scared for whatever was going on. And he explained that he'd never heard the second half of the message. And so that's the gist of their conversation was what the message meant and all this other stuff. It was meant. I don't know that it was. It's almost like Christopher Nolan in Tenet. You're like, he's telling backstory. Christopher Nolan's like, it's not that important. Trust me. But I'm like, why is there dialogue we can't hear? He's like, it's not that important. Same thing. It's not that important. I think what was important was they were having a conversation and the things are happening. And to me, nothing could show the universe more lived in than that. And I'm like, like he said, like everyone has said, these were moments that were literally pulled off the panels of comic books.
Oh, sure. Except that I would say this in the
Hey, what's up, Phil?
In the quote unquote real DC world, I don't think Superman would just let them deal with it when it's literally right outside his apartment. I think he would have said, "You're right, Lois. Here, I'll be right back." And then, have him fly, punch it in the face, it dies, and then he comes back. Okay, what were we talking about?
Okay, I could have seen that. I could have definitely seen that.
But
So Okay, Nick, I've heard people get bent out of shape saying this is a commentary on Israel and Gaza. Now, before you say anything, look, I don't necessarily. Here's the thing, that might be true. I'm someone who does have that mindset to look for stuff like that, and I didn't trip over it once. I saw
didn't feel that way to me.
Fictitious Middle Eastern-ish, or at the very least, some Eastern European-ish looking sounding culture that I know nothing about.
Was it one of those countries that they always use in DC? Or
it's a made-up one. Yeah, no, it was Baravia. It was Baravia and Jahurpur.
Darren, if you're still here, is this one of those countries that they mention a lot in DC?
I think it probably is.
Yeah,
but don't get me wrong. I
never got the feeling, oh, they're trying to be Israel, because the Israel-Palestine thing happened way too recently for them to have based a major plot point of this movie on.
Some people might argue that that's exactly why they're, because how easy it is to figure out what's going on. I'm with you. I don't think
right.
So
I mean, some people have said it's Russia-Ukraine, which, while I could actually see the Russia-Ukraine parallel better because it looks like a well-equipped military against basically a standing civilian population.
It's fair. I could see that.
And so, but it didn't look like Ukraine.
Right.
And so, to me, it was just a generic mean country going against a generic innocent country.
Well, and you want to sit here and go, really, guys? What about Alex Ross's comic where Superman does almost the exact same thing? Like literally, that nobody wants. At least I didn't place any picture or association on those characters. To me, it's like, stop it. There's only so far you can go. I mean, come on. At the end of the day, we never worried about nonsense like this with any other movie in the past.
And
why suddenly is it a thing now?
And it's honestly it's been done a few times where Superman is manipulated into intervening in some kind of foreign affair that Lex Luthor is trying to use in order to prove that he's a bad person. I mean, heck, they did that in Man of Steel.
I love that so much. Dude, I will say this. It was pretty cool to me the way Lex was controlling dude with his little dude bro video game guys. Totally. I was like, right on, man. That was very cool.
You sank my battleship.
Now, consistency, in my opinion. Ready? The invention of the pocket dimensions. Peacemaker's dad had his own little Tesseract room with the little pocket dimension, so why wouldn't this guy? So I'm like, right on. And Lex is much smarter, but I did. Dude.
Let me say this about this movie.
Go for it.
Okay, so I never ever give a movie a 10 out of a 10 score, mainly because I don't think there's such thing as a perfect movie. And yes, this movie has some legitimate flaws, a couple of which we've kind of touched on here.
Sure. Yeah.
However, there are also times when a movie gets a bonus to its score, in my opinion, because they did something that nobody else does that is so freaking awesome, right? Okay. And this movie gets a +1 bonus to its score from me. Care to guess why?
Why?
So you're not going to guess?
No, I don't know.
What do you think? Knowing what a stupid dork nerd I am, what do you think could possibly have been in this movie that would make me want to get?
Was it no, I got that. Ooh, never mind. Sorry, I just got confused with another show.
You were thinking of a completely different movie.
I was thinking of the Star Trek references in Ironheart.
Oh no!
I thought those
it has nothing to do with Star Trek. Just so you know. Well, not directly. You could infer a very loose connection, but only because Star Trek did it wrong.
Okay, so what is? Was it? I don't know, man. What was it?
The Neutronium River.
Oh no! You like
because just so anybody that you can look this crap up, right? If you want. Neutronium is a hypothetical substance that is considered to be an inert gas that can also be in a liquid form under enough pressure in the heart of neutron stars.
Watch how fast we lose viewers.
Yeah.
So his full name is Salty Trekker.
Yes.
And everybody knows Trekkers
But there is
are
nothing.
very into the-
There is nothing that suggests. I mean, because basically the problem with Neutronium, like when we see the Doomsday Machine and stuff, and other shows and movies that have tried to use Neutronium, and in fact, every show and movie that's ever tried to use Neutronium, is they always treat Neutronium like it's some kind of super uber dense metal. It's not. It's a super uber dense gas. And so so it would flow like a river, like we see.
I hear you.
And not only that, because of its insane density and the fact, like for you and I, if we were anywhere near a neutronium river, we would just instantly be crushed by the gravitational forces.
Wow.
Superman was struggling in it.
Yeah, swimming as best he could.
And he could barely get out of it. And Ultraman was struggling. Everybody was struggling when they were near this, and everybody near it was a meta. Okay, so they did Neutronium right for the first time that I've ever seen, because Neutronium can't. The only way you can have Neutronium in a solid state would be to have it at absolute zero temperature, which.
Stanley also adroitly points out he was also suffering from kryptonite poisoning at the time, so he probably was not
Ultraman
doing so because the dog was doing great trying to fly above it and keep off.
Right. But Ultraman ended up succumbing to it and so.
Can we talk about crypto?
Oh.
And I'm not talking about.
Okay, that's another +1 bonus right there.
If the algorithm gets an opportunity to catch this and thinks I'm talking about that kind, I'm talking about crypto the dog. Okay.
Although his collar did kind of look like a Dogecoin, you know.
I want to get one of those collars and capes so bad for King, my dog. Oh my God, you have no idea. I will have him running around in a cape all day long. That is amazing.
Our theater was selling them.
Were they really? Oh, bro! I would have bought. I got the news box.
I got the cup.
Also got the Superman cup. Here's the lid because the cup's on my desk over there.
Oh, that's a completely different. Yeah, we didn't.
Well, they had options. I could do the.
What toppers were they?
They had the Superman one. They had the S logo, and then they had who was it? They had another one, another guy. I think it was Mr. Terrific, maybe.
Okay. See, that's interesting because our theater had different options. That might have been a thing, like a regional thing, or that's just true. Because our theater had a crypto top, which is the one I took. It's actually got crypto the dog on it.
Love it. I love it.
And then, although I was thinking, man, I want to paint it black so it's like T'Pring, because crypto's personality, that is so T'Pring. It's just T'Pring's not super powered, thank goodness. But
can you imagine?
Yeah. But anyway,
the dog jumps on you.
Yeah, they had a crypto top, a crypto's dog tag top.
Love
and it. I can't remember what the third one was, but I went with the crypto one.
I love it.
But yeah, and no, Robert, Ultraman would not be copyright infringement on the Japanese thing because those are two very different characters. They just had, because it would be a trademark infringement if the Japanese company had trademarked the name Ultraman, but they have not.
Right.
And so it's just like, like Star Trek is a registered trademark of Paramount, but the USS Enterprise is not. So you could do a show that has a USS Enterprise in it. You just can't do that USS Enterprise.
Right. You get correct. Okay.
So, that
interesting.
You got to remember the difference between copyright and trademark. A name is a trademark.
We are all over the road tonight.
We sure are.
I love it.
Yeah, so Crypto gets another +1 bonus to my score.
Dude,
that dog was the most comic book accurate character in the history of film. And I mean,
I love that dude. My favorite line. He says, Crypto, get the toy. I was like, yes, because every dog owner in the place knew immediately. Everybody was like, oh, Crypto's going to get him all right.
Yeah.
Sure enough. Oh, it was great. It was so good.
And I know there are people that have been complaining because, so Crypto is literally a Kryptonian dog.
Right.
And so Crypto's power level is, in fact, the same level as Superman. And so people are saying...
It will have to be.
So people are saying, how dare he let that dog loose at any given time because that means like when that dog grabbed Lex Luthor, it could have easily just bit him in half.
Oh yeah.
Okay. And in fact, like when you see Crypto jump on Superman at the beginning of the movie, when he's like, "Crypto, take me home," ow! You know, so if he could make Superman wince in pain, that jump would have killed you or me, right?
No, sure.
And
Stanley asked, was he torturing the dog, making him endlessly chase the flying squirrels? I think
that
so.
was.
Or nothing else, he was keeping him busy.
Crypto was enjoying that, to be honest.
He was just keeping him busy, you think? So he didn't think about anything else?
Because if Crypto had realized that he was in a holographic chamber, he could have easily escaped. The only reason he was trapped was because he was chasing the and look, a dog like that. My dog loves to chase things. There's just not much that's small enough for her to chase.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Robert asks, if Gunn brings Shazam into the DC movies, would he recast them or use the same actors?
No, they'll recast.
I think it would recast. I don't know. Some things they have, some things they haven't. I do have thoughts about
everything that he has not recast is basically related to Suicide Squad.
Agreed.
And Suicide Squad was his movie,
Sure.
and I think that's why.
Fair enough.
So, by the way, the Peacemaker cameo.
It was on TV.
I rolled my eyes at it because
I loved it.
I don't care for Peacemaker all that much. I haven't watched the series.
Really?
No, I'm just not interested.
Oh.
And okay, here's another. I don't know if I would call this a negative or I rolled my eyes thinking this is probably going to be a negative.
Okay.
And that's Supergirl.
She didn't bother me. I mean, I know people having issues, but she's actually identical to what she's supposed to be, or at least where we're going to find her at the beginning of Woman of Tomorrow.
Well, like when we saw, I haven't read the comics again. It looks like Darren just showed up to insult me and leave, but which is too bad because we could use his information. But as far as I know, the Supergirl that I'm thinking of is like it was in one of the animated movies. And she was a spoiled brat, and Superman was having trouble controlling her, and ended up he sent her to the future to work with the whatever they're called, the super friends. From the future. With Brainiac 5 and all those guys.
Yes. Yeah.
And that's where she kind of learned discipline and stuff, was with them, and that was in a Supergirl animated movie.
Yes.
Okay, so
though there is a version of Supergirl that does in fact have that type of there's been several versions of her, just like there's been several versions.
But she didn't. She comes across as a brat, as basically a spoiled, immature teenager. I don't see her as a drunk. And
okay,
so to me, that's like they're trying to be Hancock.
No, in Woman of Tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly how it starts. What he said is all the setup I think they're going to give Woman of Tomorrow. Because in Woman of Tomorrow, literally it begins, you find out she turned 21 and she went to a planet with a red sun so that she could get drunk and enjoy her 21st birthday. Because she's she's trying to live somewhat. Woman of Tomorrow is all about her sort of finding that responsibility and that place of where she fits in. Mm-hmm. Remember, she's also, no matter what age she is, she's witnessed the destruction of her city, her family. She's lost everything. All she had left, and she was supposed to be the one she was supposed to arrive before Clark, and because of time dilation and whatever else, she came afterward. Right. So he's been here longer, and so this is her younger cousin who's now older than her. Right. And so she's sort of like in a very weird mental place.
Infancy, so he doesn't remember Krypton.
Right. So she's in a weird mental place in terms of all that.
Or if you're in the Marlon Brando camp, Krypton.
Yeah, exactly. I also liked what's her name, Benoist in the Supergirl show.
I never watched the CW Supergirl, but at that point, CW shows that I just gotten burned out on.
I liked it. It wasn't bad.
I'm sure it wasn't bad. I just got tired of them. They felt all the same to me. Maybe it's because I'm older than you, and I'm just like, I don't want to watch a bunch of stupid teenagers running around. I don't, okay, so let me say this about this movie. I like the fact that the characters weren't a bunch of babies running around. Like, we didn't have 22-year-old Superman and 23-year-old Lois, and, I wanted to see a mature cast, and we got that.
So the story, real quick. So the story, at least from my understanding, and they've retconned several pieces of this and adjusted it.
It's
So I
one
may be
baby,
combining
not
some
two.
elements. No, it wasn't. So
Kara was not a baby; she was a teen.
Kara was a teenager, and what happened is that Jor-El was the scientist behind inventing. He did not build it. Her father was the engineer who built the ships, and and in order to get his help, Jor-El told him, "Hey, this is happening. They won't let us. You gotta do." He's like, "All right, I'm gonna save my daughter, and don't worry, we'll have them meet. She'll take care of him growing up." And they were like, "Okay, cool." So it was her puppy who went, and then they were supposed to all leave, and then something blew it off trajectory or whatever else. So that's otherwise she had her father not had to be the engineer who built the ships. She probably wouldn't have come.
Now, another thing people have been complaining about hardcore is that Jor-El is evil in this.
First off, I don't believe that, and by that what I'm saying is I believe firmly that they never once explored it, but I don't think it's what everyone thinks it means, and I think down the road we're going to find that out. Right. He wasn't sent to conquer. I believe they were in their language, and it probably missed because think about half the world. You were supposed to lead them
or something, and
right. It's some way of saying, and they probably absolutely said, "Take many women, expand our genetics." That seems like a reasonable thing to say in terms of go,
because he is the only Kryptonian.
Right, go keep Krypton alive. That I don't mind. I think it's the opening part where they're like they're dumb. I don't think they're dumb. I think he was trying to say that they are at a lower place of development than we are. You could easily lead them to greatness. Like he's trying to,
and that's why I would like to see them explore in a future film, because since they left that particular thread hanging,
I do agree with this. He says, yeah, they swiped the invincible story element. I think you're absolutely right. Why in the world would you, if they're doing what everyone says that they thinks they're doing, why would they steal from the thing that's a deconstruction of Superman?
Right.
Like, why would you make him a Viltrumite, a Saiyan, or any of those things, those cultures that go and conquer planets? I don't necessarily think that's
especially since then why would you send only one?
Right.
You know, if he was a conqueror, then you'd think that, the Kryptonians would have been sending babies to every populated planet with a yellow sun.
Yeah.
But I think that, and it's kind of funny because I on my other channel I talk a lot about biblical stuff, and there's always
watch the viewer count drop. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah. No, well, but what's interesting is like you look at words like in the Bible when you see the word slave, right? And the word slave is really more accurately translated to servant, but people don't and
right translation errors. That's my point. That's what I told Mr.
And so I'm thinking that maybe we're going to see something like that in a future film because they leave that hanging.
If they bring Zod back, which that's low hanging fruit, but I could totally see them doing it because it's very common.
They got to bring Zod eventually.
Eventually, and I think that would probably be where that, and it'll be a comic accurate Zod, I believe, because Zod
where he's in the Phantom Zone as opposed to
the Phantom Zone, but also that he knows that he knows what the point of it all was, and he's like, no, you were here to conquer them, you were just here to rule them, and as a ruler, you should, what I mean. They don't see ruling as conquering, like hurting people. They see it as I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you be better, kind of a situation. They did indeed make Zod great again. I don't know who ran 19, dude. That was amazing. Sorry, Stanley. Hang on. I got hashtag make Zod great again.
But Stan, so let me say this. Yes, you're right. They made a point out of saying that that everything that they had was genuine. However, how many people on Earth are experts in the Kryptonian language?
Good point. Yeah, that's another thing. It's like, it's a weird language.
And so even though, like at the end, when I like the nice touch at the very end of the movie when he said when the robots say the same thing they said at the beginning, except that it's the Kents. That was really nice. That was a really nice touch.
Love it.
I would like to see a situation where the robots, because the robots are fluent in Kryptonian.
Oh, by the way, apparently these Kents didn't have to die to teach Clark a lesson.
Wait, no.
What?
Don't come get me from the tornado.
I hate you so much. No, it's real, bro. It's real though. Like I'm like he didn't have to do. He was able to sit there and give wisdom, and it was wonderful.
Yeah.
So,
No, yeah, it was
man.
nice. And it's funny. This is the first Superman movie where both of Superman's parents survived at least one movie.
Because Lord knows it's been happening in all the series forever.
Yeah,
He's
even
got
in
both parents
19
in every series.
yeah, even in 1978 though, Pa had to drop, you know.
In the Dean Cain show, he had both his parents. In Smallville, both his parents. Everybody has both his parents, but no, not the movies.
Yeah.
I got to get rid of him quick.
Not
And I'm
until
like,
now.
what are y'all doing, man?
And you know, oh yeah, that's another thing people complain about is that Mom, Pa Kent were like, oh, they're just stereotyped country bumpkins. What do you expect them to be?
They're from bro. I'm sorry, but
They
anyone
are
from the
country
city
bumpkins.
has no right to tell me what people from the country are like. I'm sorry. Okay, those were I identified with those country people. I'm sorry. I know those country people.
Oh, and man, I will tell you, I had flashbacks.
Here's the Ren 19 Zod press release. We're gonna rebuild Krypton, and it's gonna be great, beautiful, and huge. It's gonna be so huge. Thank you.
Now, kneel before Zod.
That's right. That's awesome. Oh my god.
No, at the I literally had flashbacks during the movie of my mom when Ma Kent was yelling at the phone.
Yes, bro.
Oh my gosh, that hit me hard.
That was awesome.
Yeah.
Oh my god! Can I tell you what I reminded of my grandparents. My grandmother used to always say that my grandfather was crazy. He was this. She would always talk crap about him, but she obviously loved the heck out of him. But she would be like, he doesn't know what he's talking about. Don't listen to him. But she was all like, he cries about anything. He's a big mush. When she's picking on him, I loved it. Loved it.
Yeah, I didn't have a problem with the way the Kents were portrayed. And
Not
people
at
would say,
all.
oh, well, they didn't develop them enough. It's not about them. You
Hold
know,
on. What more do you need to know?
Right.
Like, literally, the Kents have never gotten a whole lot of screen time. So that's a
Right.
bunch of crap. Stop it.
Except for in 1978. They did get a lot of screen time in 1978. But
Sure.
but 1978, that film was an epic. You can't make movies like that anymore where you spend an hour of the movie before you even introduce the main actor.
Stan, I'm assuming you're asking about Lois and Clark. They did, actually. Lois says that they've been dating for 3 months.
Yes. However, they were dating in secret. And in fact, even at the end of the movie, their relationship seems to be secret.
So, yeah, yes.
Well,
Not as-
there was the floating, because that's one of the big red herrings of the trailer. Yes, there's the floating kiss in an empty mall in an evacuated part of the city.
True story.
So
No, and it's not that he hadn't told Lois about his childhood. It's that they hadn't really had time to bring her home to meet the parents.
right,
I'm sure she knows he's from Smallville, Kansas. Like that's she knows, which is all she probably needs to know at this point. She's dating the
oh
big
man,
country boy.
you just reminded me of another great line. So wait, he's Clark Kent.
That's right. It's like, do you know about the hypno glasses?
Yeah,
I love the hypno
which was
glasses.
from the comic books, by the way.
I know. I love that so much. That whole lot, I was like, bro, James Gunn, I love you, dude. That was awesome.
Yeah, so yeah, this movie, it really, gosh darn it, those guys are just so not nice.
Dude, I love it so much.
I'm trying to be like Superman.
All his Clarkisms, I loved. I'm sorry.
And if you haven't stuck around for the second, granted, neither of the post credit scenes were important.
I don't think they're like earth shattering, but
Well, there's nothing that sets up anything coming or anything like that.
It's not. It's more just the
but the second one, where Superman and Mr. Terrific are just sitting there looking, and Mr. Terrific gets pissed off at Superman, storms off, and then and even though it's over nothing, Mr. Terrific's just being overly sensitive. And Superman's going,
You want me to take it
gosh
apart?
darn it, I could be such a gosh darn jerk
I'm
sometimes.
so mean. Or something. Yeah, totally.
Yeah, and it's like, okay, I
That
love.
was by the way, that was the second. That was what confirmed it for me.
Mm-hmm.
When I was like, oh my god, that legitimately, he's like, Clark has to pretend to be Superman,
but it's
versus
not just
Batman,
that.
who has to pretend to be Bruce.
It's that Superman is so morally correct
I agree.
that
I absolutely agree with that.
he can't cut. Like, this isn't like
He totally can't. It's like, no, don't.
right. like you think about like, okay, you know, some people like when Captain America, you know, said
Yes.
you've got to be shitting me when he saw the other version of him, right? Now I was a little out of character because Captain America usually gets on people about language, but if Superman said that, it would have been earth shaking because at least this Superman. This Superman will never, ever, ever say a 4-letter word, and I love that. Even though, by the way, almost every other character in the movie cusses up a storm.
Hey, Godson. Yeah, totally. No, for sure. For sure.
And I'm okay with that because they made a point that Superman, number one, isn't judging them for it, but number two, isn't doing it.
Stan's right. What the hey, man? What the
Yeah,
hey?
what the hey, man?
That was the best. I was like, dude.
You know,
because you got to remember, he was raised in the country with small town folks and small town values and the whole 9 yards. He was raised that way. I love that so much.
The only thing and now granted, I know we'll never see it ever in a movie ever because Hollywood is Hollywood. And this is something that the Phantom Menace people would be right about as far as their woke alerts and stuff but fortunately they didn't try to butcher it, but they didn't say it at all. And that's truth, justice, and the American way.
They did right. They didn't say it at all, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah, and I think they didn't say it at all because
I see people criticizing everywhere, and I'm like, "There's no reason for you guys to get all that."
But that's what's pissing me off is people are criticizing it but it's like it wasn't in the movie. And you know what? Superman, the Christopher Reeve Superman, said it once,
right,
in the first movie. That's it,
and that was during that interview.
Yeah, with the interview with Lois.
And in fact, do you remember Lois calls him out like, that's. People aren't like that, or don't like that's so silly, or something. What a silly way of.
And that was in the 70s.
And he goes, I don't think so, Lo. I think it's really important. Like he gets to stand up being that guy, and I was like, that's exactly who he would be.
And the thing is, if they ever bring the line up, I think that they should call him out on it, but then he should be able to defend it. And so, like, it would be something like, let's say, if he's talking to Lois, because it would probably be in one of his little interviews with Lois, or maybe he's on TV or something, because with Kat, since they introduced her, even though she's really just a cameo, but she did look like Kat from the comics. You know what I'm talking about, right?
She looked dead on like Kat from the comics. Yes.
And so
did the other guy, the sports guy, though, too.
Yeah,
with the little mustache, that total what?
But like, let's say Kat's interviewing him on
Ted
GNM.
Lasso mustache.
Yeah, but Kat's like saying, "Okay, so Superman, come on, tell me, what do you really stand for?" And he would say something like, "Well, I stand for truth, justice, and the American way." And of course, she would just bust up laughing, right?
Sure.
And she'd say something like, "Come on. The American way, have you looked at our political system? Have you paid attention to all the division going on, all this stuff?"
And he should say something.
And he would say something, well, no, the American way is the principles that this country was founded on, the idea of equality, the idea. And so you can basically define what that means. The truth, justice, the American way doesn't mean I support Donald Trump. It doesn't mean I support Joe Biden. It means I support the ideal of America.
Absolutely, which I think nobody could argue with. I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. That to me sounds like a much more firm way of being able to walk it through, and not to mention the fact, again, I keep leaning on, he's a small town country kid who has to wear a spandex outfit, and now gets to save people's lives, but he's still that small country kid who was raised that way.
Mm.
I love the fact that I'm with you too, Stanley. They never did mention who the president was. I know they did not. Yeah. I think there was actually a scene. There was supposed to be a scene that involved a president, and they cut it. Where either he answers to him or calls to him or talks to him briefly or whatever. They cut it completely.
Now, another complaint is, boy, is there a lot of things that happen in this movie.
There's never a dull, boring moment.
Right. But I mean, it's like, okay, so is Lex's evil plan to kill Superman? Is it to release a giant kaiju? Is it to split the earth in half? What exactly is Lex's plan, right? And it's like, the problem with people that are saying this kind of thing is like, you weren't paying attention to Lex. Lex's evil plan was he just wanted to rid the world of Superman, and everything that he did, as far as releasing the kaiju and splitting the world in half and all that stuff, was all to try to further his plan to kill Superman.
That's right. And even Superman tries to call him out. He's like, I can't believe you tried to kill me so that you could have an opportunity to do this. He's like, no, I made that opportunity so I could have a chance to kill you.
Yeah.
Like, you got it reversed, man. You're my goal, not this nonsense. This
Right.
is ancillary and collateral. I'm after you. And I was like, okay, that rocks, man.
Which sets it up for future movies that Lex is, we know that Lex is simply obsessed with ridding the world of the world's worst illegal alien.
I will say this was one of the best representations I've ever seen of Lex's ultimate, his like raison d'etre, the reason he does what he does, which is he flat out, it's because Lex is arguably the greatest, smartest, best human being on the planet in terms of capability.
In the DC world.
Nobody cares. Because Superman exists. And by virtue of his existence that he had to do nothing for other than be born and ultimately end up here and just exposed to our sun, is superpowered and has all these abilities that he doesn't deserve and hasn't earned. And I'm like, oh, bro.
But you're missing the most important factor.
Which was?
Superman caused Lex's baldness.
That was in the old in
the Superboy comic books.
In the original comics, yeah. That was the original motivation. I told my wife that. I said, do you know any clue? And she was like, she had no idea. Back in the day, man.
Yeah. But now you can't do that.
That's a great question. Superman versus Sentry. It's a wonderful question.
If Sentry went into Void mode, Void wins. I don't think Superman would have a defense. I don't think Superman would have a defense against that.
Superman's defeated the I would argue that remember that Black Rose thing that he wore on his face once? That's kind of similar to how they portrayed the Void in the MCU, and he managed to.
But as far as raw power, it's hard to say because we didn't see Sentry. Like if we saw Sentry go up against Thor and Captain Marvel or something, sure. But he went against Captain America level strength at most.
That's true. No, you're right.
And so he didn't go up against anything nearly as powerful. But I think it would be a great fight.
I do agree with Stan here about the monkeys. I thought they were silly too, but I loved them.
No,
they were so on the nose.
This is another thing. Yeah, the monkeys were stupid, but that's another page right out of the comic books. That's something that evil Lex Luthor in the comics would do.
Yep. I love it. I love it.
And by the way, what better super secret origin story for Gorilla Grodd could you have than a bunch of genetically altered monkeys?
Stop it. Superman versus the Trek reviewer was Superman versus Armus from Star Trek: The Next Generation.
Oh, Superman would curb stomp Armus. I mean, no matter which version of Superman.
Welcome to the show.
We don't really know. Well, Armus is phaser proof.
True. Super phaser proof. Yeah, man.
Yeah. So we don't know. We don't really know how strong Armus is.
Have they ever done a crossover? DC ever done crossovers with Star Trek?
No. So I think Star Trek is mostly Marvel.
Okay. They've done. Okay.
Yeah.
You're right. I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right.
So actually, I think the Armus thing is a tough one because we haven't seen Armus really go against anybody with super abilities.
And this is where we lose everybody in the audience.
But so far we're still growing, buddy.
I know. I'm shocked. I'm like, oh, you guys earlier. I tell you what. So I think it's because everybody heard we were talking crap about the Phantom Menace. That's why.
Yeah. And they're mostly on your Twitter account. That's where they're coming.
Oh yeah, no, totally. Right on. Yeah, man.
By the way, if you're watching this in the Twitter feed, come on over to at Salty Plus on YouTube and subscribe because there'll be more fun content coming soon.
There you go.
And much better stuff than what Mr. Know-It-All makes.
Way better. No, totally. No,
but
yeah, go ahead.
No, I think that when you start doing the match, that's what we're going to talk about, matchups here. So one of the things that me and Mr. Know-It-All were talking about is you may remember one of the very first nerd fight things we did was the Fantastic Four versus Superman. but we were kind of using generic models of the Fantastic Four and
We
Superman.
were.
Yeah.
Well, because yes.
So now we're going to use the current film version of both.
Because David
we have-
Corn Sweat Superman versus
Yeah. So we had the Corn Sweat Superman versus
Right.
the Pedro Fantastic Four.
the
Right?
Fantastic Four, Los Fantásticos Cuatro.
You know, what a great name that would be. Pedro Corn Sweat. Working the fields as Pedro Corn Sweat.
Oh my God, I can't.
But-
I can't.
And by the way, what better name for a farm boy from Kansas than Corn Sweat?
That's hilarious.
Yeah.
Stan said he was about to put on Superman 1978 and eat when he noticed that we popped up, and I appreciate that.
Well, we are definitely glad you're here, Stan.
The battle between Superman and the Marvel's Hyperion would be a very interesting battle. Both are solar powered and have the same set of powers. Hyperion's arguably the closest Superman analog in terms of literally who and what he is.
Right.
I feel like I feel like Superman could win that.
You know who I don't think Superman could beat is
Who? You gonna say Homelander?
why would I say Homeland?
I think Superman would curb stomp Homelander.
Yeah,
myself.
I mean, come on.
The only thing Homelander's got on Superman.
Omni-Man would curb stomp Homelander,
The
and
only thing
Superman
that-
would curb stomp Omni-Man. So
The only thing that Omni-Man and what's his name, Homelander have potentially on Superman is that they are aggressive and would fight to kill out the gate. Superman needs to be ramped up to that place and understand just how dangerous and everything is. Stan Lee loves that Lex imprisons all his ex-girlfriends. Man, I think we're gonna be worried about you now, bro. I'm sorry. Oh my God. My thing is this. I love that. So, what did you think? That's a great point. What did you think of Metamorpho, bro?
Well, he wasn't Metamorpho; he was Elemental Man.
He's
That's
Metamorpho.
actually what they called him in the movie. He was
I
Elemental
know. You know why they did that, right?
Man. No, I don't.
That was his classic. Oh, that was his classic in universe
Okay.
name. His real name is Metamorpho, but his classic in universe name was the Element Man.
It was.
I
what?
love that. As the Element Man, I love that character.
Okay.
I do. I think he's a cool character.
Well, I think that's actually better than Metamorpho.
I
Metamorpho.
forget how cool his powers are.
Yeah,
When I
because he
saw
can
him do all
literally
the
turn
stuff
into
he was doing,
anything.
I was like, this guy is awesome looking. What is he doing?
So no, I liked him a lot actually, and it's kind of I love the fact that he got into the Justice Gang because he liked the name.
Totally.
That was the best. Guy Gardner every time, man. Nathan Fillion was 100% gold in this.
He was. He really
It's
was.
as golden as his
he's
hair.
a gift. He's a gift,
Yeah.
bro. He was a
He-
gift.
he-
I loved it. Especially
but-
because he's just. This reminds me of Justice League International. Because Justice League International was always like, "Yeah, man, we're great." And Guy Gardner, he's like, "I'm the leader," and everyone was always like, "I thought Superman was the leader." He's like, "No, we don't call him that often." And Superman really only ever, if you remember those old comics, or at least from that era, Superman didn't care about leading the Justice League. In fact, he didn't even want to be part of it. He was like, "Look, if you have a big enough emergency, call me." Otherwise, he just wanted them to be a group he could keep his eyes on. And he was like, "I'll help you guys if you want, but go do your thing." You know what I mean?
Well,
That
just
was
like
it.
Batman didn't want to be a part of it, except for keeping a contingency plan for killing them all.
That's right. Well, and also Batman's thing was he was like, "Oh, I have to keep you guys from getting yourselves killed."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So he was, and then little by little it morphed it. You got Wonder Woman in, and everybody. It's like, okay, we're all there.
But anyway, but you didn't let me finish my thing. As far as
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So who could beat Superman from Marvel easily? Like curb stomp Superman? Gladiator.
Really?
Absolutely.
You think?
Yes.
Why?
Because Gladiator's indestructibility and strength are not based on physical properties.
Okay.
And so I don't think
No, they're not. They're based on his. They're based on his his ego. So long as he believes he can do a thing, he
yes.
can do it.
And Gladiator is the most arrogant character in history. Superman is not.
Is it arrogance when you totally have?
Well, but it's funny because he's powered by arrogance, basically.
Right. No,
but-
yes, I guess yes.
Yes. So Gladiator, as long as he believed that he could curb stomp Superman, could curb stomp Superman.
It's true. That's true.
And Gladiator would go into the fight absolutely believing he could do it.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah. And so, Yeah, and that's one of the reasons that I say Fantastic Four in my initial lineup, because Fantastic Four stopped Gladiator dead in his tracks.
That's awesome.
But that's because, and it was because of Reed's big brain.
See, but you can see. Don't be bringing that scaling bull crap to the fight when we do have this a nerd fight about this again.
No,
you can't
no,
be
no.
like, well, by the transitive property.
No, we're only going to be using what we see in the movies as far as power levels.
Okay.
So, which means
I'll get Gonzo on the
I'm the first to admit I am definitely the underdog here. You know, even though they're going to beat a cosmic, what would be interesting, I'll see. You know, will this Galactus? How powerful is he? You know,
that's a good call. Stanley asking a real good question here. Stanley asking, what was the Ultraman sort of like an automaton? Did he ever talk? No. So they kind of briefly, just as the throwaway line, Lex says, luckily the one problem we have with cloning him is he's stupid, and they're stupider than you are.
He's stupid but stronger.
Right. So he's stupider than you are. So he has to be controlled and told what to program to what to do. And I'm like, okay.
Which was probably due to genetic manipulation more than anything else. You know, they didn't get into it, but that would seem like something he would do. And that's also a good setup for. So, what happens to Superman when he gets sucked into a black hole? Does he come out looking like Bizarro? Maybe.
That would be amazing. If finally they had the balls to just make him Bizarro. So the Superman and Lois adventure,
because they've established he's stupid.
Right, the one that just happened, the Superman show that would just happen. They tried to do one. It was a clone that ended up becoming essentially Bizarro, and they did it through like veins and stuff happening on his skin. And I'm like, dude, just give him blocky skin. Just go there. Just go.
Well, and the thing is that the original origin of Bizarro was that he was a failed clone.
Right.
Lex made a duplication ray. But it didn't quite work right, and so when he duplicated Superman, it created Bizarro.
I think we need to talk about the elephant in the room, which clearly must be in Jimmy Olsen's pants, because what is going on with Jimmy? Jimmy's pulling all.
Oh yeah, why is Miss Tessmacher after
everybody? Jimmy is all about everything, man. The ladies, loves it so much.
Yeah, because you know what? The funny thing is, okay, so when the ladies were looking at him. I honestly, I didn't catch it until actually you just mentioned it.
Yeah, dude, the ladies were all.
I didn't realize they were talking about Jimmy. I thought they were talking about Clark.
Oh my God, no, it's Jimmy.
Because
they pay attention to him all day.
That's actually what made me think of Man of Steel more than anything else. Because in Man of Steel, one of the things that John Byrne changed is it's like, look, Clark Kent is 6'4", weighs 280 pounds without an ounce of fat on him, right? The girls are going to want him.
Yeah,
right?
And he's oblivious to all that.
Yeah, he's just too dumb to realize it. At least he's pretending to be too dumb to realize.
Yeah, exactly.
And so in Man of Steel, the run, the women were tripping over themselves because look at Clark.
Literally.
But Lois, Lois was the only one kind of immune to that because she didn't give a crap. She was just like,
that's right. The ones that know. Lois is like, I don't have to compete like that.
Yeah. But so I thought they were talking about Clark, but yeah, then it wasn't until you just mentioned it that why is everybody so infatuated with Jimmy Olsen? Maybe he's just got, a 14-inch lens for his camera.
Woo, that's right. He's got that shotgun lens.
Yes.
I love it. I love it. No, it's good. But I did love the fact that to me, I've heard people playing that it was like, oh, it's so convenient. He had Miss Tessmacher's number, whatever. Dude, I loved it. To me, that's the kind of stuff I can do, especially because he tried to leverage that and use it to help. And I was like,
and he didn't want to because he was like I love the fact that you owe me so much. You
totally
have no idea how much you owe me. Right. And because he just committed to a relationship with a woman in order to help out Superman.
Oh yeah, totally.
And
I love him. He's great.
Yeah. Now, granted, it's a relationship that most of the guys in that universe would kill for, but at the same time, it's one he didn't want. And even if the woman is an 11 out of 10, if it's not a woman you're interested in, it's hell to be stuck in a relationship with that person. And so I could kind of feel Jimmy on that, but at the same time, why are all the ladies so interested in him.
I think it's clear.
Okay,
Jimmy
so
knows how to take care of business.
let's talk about what are Superman's powers and abilities based on this film.
He's got the strength, he's got the breath, he's got the laser eyes.
Yes, and
He does
flight,
have a speed.
but he's not super fast like we saw in the Man of Steel stuff.
Yeah, he's not. At least he hasn't exerted that any kind of speed like that yet that we can
Right.
see. He. I know he did fly relatively quickly when he had to get somewhere.
But he was straining to fly somewhere quickly, and it still took him more than instantaneous to get to another place on Earth.
I agree. I do.
So
agree.
this is not he can go 750,000 times the speed of light, Superman.
Right.
This seems to be a Superman that I would say, based on the fastest we saw him fly, probably capable of flight up to Mach 10, maybe.
Sure.
And as far as grounds, his awareness, his spatial awareness, doesn't appear to be significantly better than anybody else. Like,
Yeah,
it's
I agree with that.
Yeah, so it's not like, he the Flash where everything is in slow motion to him.
Right.
You know,
I get that. And I think you're right for now. I do think you're right.
yeah, they may change it in the future,
Right.
but I'm thinking that James Gunn is trying to limit him a bit.
Which is fine, because at the end of the day, you have to how do you make a character who's godlike into something that you can tell a story about?
Right.
And
Now-
I think it's a good approach.
He does require breathing, so you can suffocate him, as we did see, because that's how he was almost taken out.
But he can hold his breath for a very long time.
If and that's the thing that they said, if he has a chance to take it in. Because if, in the case of because most of the time we're not like before somebody throws something in your face,
Right.
and that's exactly what happened to him.
So I think Stanley's making a good point here. Stanley says, but he looks like where he wanted to fly, and then he sell it. He goes, but he goes to the moon.
Yes, but we don't
I
see
think-
him go to the moon.
No, but I think what's an interesting qualification is that means he can hold his breath for the duration of time it takes him to fly that distance.
First of all, if you're going to
I
start trying to
believe-
use the post-credit scene of him on the moon as canonical information, then we got a major problem that I already mentioned to you.
Oh, stop it.
Because he and Crypto were sitting on the moon, just palling around. There was no indication that Crypto was holding his breath, and yet he requires air on Earth. And so I think that the moon shot at the end, you got to take with a grain of salt. It was just there to be a sweet looking shot. I would not say that Superman went to the moon in this story, because if he did, then you got a major problem. Because what's he going to hold his breath, go up, sit down on the moon and play with his dog for a while holding his breath, and then
That's what I would do. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah. Okay, so let me ask you this. If you're going to jump underwater and hold your breath, do you just drag your dog down with you and hope that your dog's not going to die?
There you go. By the way, this is a preview of what happens in our nerd fights. He uses
Yes.
the least logical, most asinine example to
No,
make his
it's the exact same thing.
I'm gonna
It
take
would
my
be the
dog
same.
into the thing. First off,
It would be the
if I
same.
could go underwater like that, then my dog should be able to handle the same kind of thing.
So your
This is a
dog-
super dog. This is a super dog.
Yes.
Chances are the super dog has already figured out that he can't breathe past a certain point, and when he's heading to that point, the same way any other dog realizes, oh, when I go out the pet door, I got to do here, there, whatever else. So he probably would have already understood on his own he has to hold his breath, because dogs can hold their breath.
I didn't say dogs can't hold their breath.
I know, but I'm saying he could have. He's a good
First
one.
of all, Crypto is a very bad dog. We've established that very well, and that's one of
right.
the most well established character trait in the movie is that Crypto is a bad dog. But
Stanley points out, but most dogs swim, but not many of them dive.
that is true. Yeah, dogs may be able to hold their breath, but not particularly long time, right? And
I don't know, man.
okay, when have you ever seen a deep sea
I'm
diving
sorry.
dog?
I'm sorry. Do I need to roll the tape back? You just got finished saying in the beginning of this thing, about 90 minutes ago or so, you were like, "Hey, he can do everything a Superman can do."
He can, but that doesn't mean that
Okay.
no.
What does
He's
it mean what?
still just a dumb dog. He doesn't. Oh, come on, shut up. Don't give me that crap.
I don't know about you. My dog could do it.
Yeah, right. So in that case, get a tank right now.
That's right,
Pull your
King,
dog
let's
under
go.
and let's see how he does.
King would handle it. King would handle it like a champ. But I gotta give him a Superman cape first. Then he can do
I'll
it.
hold my breath. King holds his breath. We'll see who lasts longer.
True story.
So, I'm not letting you do it because you'll say it.
Stanley says, "Yeah, you can't explain the dog holding its breath." Man, Stan, you turn on me quick.
Plus,
Turn on me quick.
I'm pretty sure the dog's mouth was open when they were on the moon. So
Yeah, no, I could totally see that actually.
That makes sense. I mean, you couldn't see Superman's face, but but you could imagine him like say a good dog, even though you can't talk on the moon, right? It was just a stupid shot to make it look nice.
I hear you.
So I don't. So anyway, you hit Superman with something that could suffocate him. That will work as long as you catch him by surprise.
Here's the other part. What are you going to hit him with? And by that I mean, understand the stuff he's getting hit with are super strong beings. You hit him with a baseball bat to the back of the head, you're breaking the bat.
Oh no, I understand that, but I'm just saying
You have to
that
hit him
is-
with something amazingly
I'm just trying to get into the realism of all this. So, as far as when we start talking about Supes versus Fantastic Four, because we have not established actually no, we did thanks to Supergirl. Red sunlight will also depower him.
Yes.
Okay, so red sunlight will depower him.
Maybe she keeps a little red sunlight puppy house.
Yeah.
All right, time to go to your home. And he goes in there and turns on the lamp so he can stay sleeping. He's like, I'll let you out in the morning.
He can he can suffocate, and kryptonite definitely affects him.
Yep.
So some kind of exotic radiation that comes from kryptonite. Now, as far as level of strength and everything, is he completely invulnerable? No, because even though Ultraman is as strong as Superman, but through fighting Ultraman, Superman broke ribs, perforated a lung, and I think, what did they say, like some other organ was damaged as well. And so Superman can
Fighting the hammer of Balaria.
It was Ultraman in a suit.
Yeah, it's the hammer of Baravia.
Yeah, but anyway, so in that fight though, Superman suffered serious injury and and unlike Superman from other movies and stuff, he didn't just insta heal. The robots had to heal him.
Godson, yes, he is absolutely going to be my queen.
Huh?
You're going to be my queen, according to Godson.
What?
According to Godson, it says Michael's going to be Mr. Know-It-All's queen.
No.
That's what he said. Then it's one of your guys.
My
guys don't talk like that.
Yeah, that's the problem. My guys all talk crap about me. That's it.
So Stanley says, does it use up one hair strand making the clone? The one for one clone. I thought it was hilarious, by the way, because no offense, I think it would be very nearly impossible. Then again, I say that about DC's version of Tony Stark, who literally builds a pocket dimension. I think he can clone from a strand of hair.
Well, actually, he would need a hair follicle, not a hair strand. But
thank you, I appreciate that.
Yes.
Stop being a dick.
Hey, they got neutronium right. They could at least get that right. Come on.
Nice. Totally.
But
I feel like that's the kind of thing Lex would totally say to correct somebody. Like Lex would be like, "It's the hair follicle, thank you, not just the hair." Like I could see him totally saying that.
Yeah. The funny thing is, that's how they made Nuclear Man in.
There it is. There it is. Robert literally said it.
Oh yeah.
Nuclear Man almost killed Superman, and that's exactly why.
But Nuclear Man was also a flawed clone.
Yes, he was.
And so, enhanced with nuclear evil or something.
Yeah, exactly.
100%. And growling and had super fingernails.
That was hilarious. The retractable fingernails. You're like, let's go, bro. Let's go.
Yeah. So but Superman. Okay, so if hit by something that can hit equivalent to him,
sure, he
can take serious internal damage. Which means that I need to try to compare.
You know what Lex should have done?
Huh?
If Lex had any brains any real brains, clone the dog, make and train specialty super dogs.
Yes,
Make
except
train
that splice the DNA with Rottweilers.
Get the right or German Shepherd or something, and get them trained the way that those dogs are trained as attack animals.
Yes.
And you get them all super trained. Get them trained so they shoot lasers. Get them trained because remember he can do that.
Yeah,
the dog can shoot lasers. The dog can do everything. So you train them to do all that crap.
Hey, look at what he did with the monkeys. He could do that with the dogs.
Train them to breathe underwater.
Yeah.
Or to breathe in space.
Well, then he would need like Aquaman. And
so I will say this: in the original Justice League cartoon, they used to do that where he would have to go far distances, and he would just have a thing on it, and he would take like one breath, like it would have a little teeny tiny canister of air,
right?
And it was just so you could take
one breath every hour.
Yeah, something like that. Just so you could like, and then keep going. And I'm like, oh my god, that's brilliant! It's really smart.
Well, you know, it's actually one of the things I'm surprised they didn't do in this. Is another thing from Man of Steel where they showed how Clark shaves.
I love that.
Because he had to use a reflective piece of metal from his spaceship and shoot his heat vision into it in order to singe his beard.
Yeah.
That was the only way he could shave. And he kept an electric razor nearby in case somebody was in the house, and he'd turn on the electric razor, set it down on the counter, and then use the mirror to shave himself.
Good stuff, man.
Yeah, but little details like that were fun, and I'm hoping that James Gunn, based on what we saw here, I think it wouldn't be surprising if we see that just as a casual thing in a future.
No, I agree. I absolutely agree.
But anyway,
again, I enjoyed the movie overall. I thought it was an excellent movie. I'm ready for more stuff.
I don't think either of us are saying we hated the movie.
I know that there's people. No, but I know there's people out there who are like, who are like, well, if this is the tone that the DCU is going to have,
you know what?
Like,
they're just gosh darn mean guys.
They really are. They really are.
They really.
What the hey?
Yeah, what the hey, man? They got to get that bug out of their behind.
Come on, man. That's right.
You know, they really do. They got a burr up there behind like nobody's business. And
I think they have to do a Superman sequel. I don't think you do a solo film yet or a group film yet. I think you do a Superman sequel. I think you definitely need to get a Wonder Woman movie or a Batman movie in works.
I do think that
they
need
to worry about the Flash right now. You just get.
Well, they already announced Supergirl.
Superman so beta.
I really do want to see a Justice Gang movie.
I want to see what happens when they actually become the Justice League, bro. Like, let's go.
Yeah, but we need a Justice Gang movie first because that was so fun.
I want to. The next thing we're getting is Peacemaker, the series, the season 2, and Peacemaker. So the funny thing, they've already said it's not because they shown in the trailers for Peacemaker season 2. Hawk Girl and Green Lantern and Maxwell Lord all make cameos because he goes and applies for a job with the Justice Gang. But there is another cameo. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh yeah, they were in the promo. They were in the trailer.
Okay.
And so, but according to James Gunn, there will be another major cameo. I don't know if it's either going to be Wonder Woman or it might flat out be Superman. I would love to see Superman show up, even if it's at the very end, similar to how.
It's not like Peacemaker's a threat to Superman.
No, but it would still be cool to see him like have him. Peacemaker just had to deal with saving the planet in the last season. So
I haven't seen the last season. Remember?
Well, then get to watching.
Oh, gosh, you're gonna make me watch that show.
Get to watching, yes.
Oh, you jerk!
But if nothing else, watch it just so we can fight about it.
All right, but we're still trying to establish Superman's power level here because I was trying to say
power levels, man. He's good. He's Superman. I loved it.
No, it doesn't work that way because
he smashed into the ground and had a giant crater, and his good buddy, the guy from the food cart, helped him out, which I thought was wonderful.
Yeah, and then got shot in the face for it.
You know what? But and Superman remembered his name.
Well, good for him. I'm sure he died happy.
All right. Well,
that was a vicious moment, by the way.
Just kidding. It was rough. It was rough. I love the fact that they made sure they didn't give us motivation. Not real. They told us some nonsense about what his motivation is, but Lex Luthor is what I've been asking for, which is we just got a bad guy who's a bad guy for bad guy's sake. Don't give me an origin story. Don't tell me how oh, what was me, sad upbringing, whatever. No, he's evil. He wants to be done with Superman under any circumstance for any reason.
And yes,
happy.
Dan, that's what I'm trying to get to. So this Superman can break bones and injure internal organs. Superman would have been in bad shape if it wasn't for the robots. He probably would have died from those injuries, because internal bleeding is no joke.
That's right. But then they put him in the sun, and he baked out.
Yeah, but they had to put him in the special magnifying uber sunlight.
Dude, I love that. That was wonderful.
So here's the question that you and I'm going to want your honest answer 2 weeks from now.
Okay.
And when after we see it, we can judge it. Right now, we can't. Will a direct punch from the Thing injure Superman?
I don't know if it'll injure him, but I think it would definitely hit him. It would hit him like anything else that we saw hitting him.
But that's the thing. We don't know how strong this Thing is. I'm not talking about comic book Thing. I'm not talking about Fantastic Four from previous movies Thing. I'm saying the Thing coming up in this movie. We need to watch how strong he is and kind of try to compare that to how strong Superman is.
He's pretty strong.
Huh?
He's pretty strong. We
see him pulling that boat.
Yeah, easily by the giant chain. So I don't know. We'll see. I'm with you. Let's take a look.
So, for example, we don't know what's going to happen in Fantastic Four. This is not spoiler warning for Fantastic Four or anything. But let's suppose hypothetically that at some point Galactus is putting his foot down and the Thing catches it. That would be equivalent to what happened with the kaiju.
Sure.
Okay, so if we get something like that that's directly comparable, then we could say that Thing is probably on the same strength level as Superman. If we don't get something that good, then I would grant you
I think it's surface strength level. Yeah, I think you got to qualify this. It's not just straight up just the strength level in general. I think you got to qualify what that means exactly. But I get you. No, I'm not saying right now.
I'm saying Superman could hit. I mean, Thing could hit as hard as Superman. Now, Thing can't fly, but there are also other ways that Thing gets around sometimes.
Sure, he jumps around like Hulk does.
Well, not just that, but like he's used Reed Richards as a slingshot.
True.
And he's also had the Invisible Woman catapult him with force fields. So it's not like the Thing has no way to get in the air. It's just that he can't do it alone. And of course, even in the trailer, we see Johnny flying him around.
Yeah,
which doesn't make any lick of sense to me.
Sure does.
How could Johnny lift him?
Johnny is using heat to raise him. He's creating
but the Thing is below him. He's supporting him with his arms.
Yeah, but the thing is, he's light. I'm
not saying Johnny being able to keep.
Johnny's like a rocket.
No. You're not catching me. I'm not upset that Johnny can maintain altitude. I'm upset that Johnny's arms don't fall off.
No, because again, he's being exploded upward by the rocket force.
If I'm being exploded upward, but my arms are holding you, my arms are not going to stay there.
Let me ask you a question. Can I ask you, what universe do you live in that you don't ever sit here and put the same amount of fiction brain cells into inventing this stuff as you do in trying to debunk stuff with real world logic that you yourself are defying? Let me walk you through it, sir.
Sure, walk me